All Signals present Countdown to Justice, where we pit Batman versus Superman. 7 rounds, 7 episodes examining 5 decades of these two iconic superheroes represented on celluloid, in anticipation for the upcoming Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. Which superheroes film series will emerge victorious? Stay tuned and find out. Hello and welcome to round 7 of Countdown to Justice. My name is Chris Morgan. I am here with Louis Duran.
Good evening.
And Maurice Richard Perry.
It's Richard Maurice.
Is it Richard Maurice?
Yeah.
I fucked up.
Oh, it's all good.
Okay, so we... Originally this was supposed to be the tiebreaker round. That if the score was 3 Batman, 3 Superman, you know, we were going to give Man of Steel an extra point since it and Dark Knight Rises are contemporaries. And then we figured out midweek that, you know, Batman had already won 4-2, so one more win wouldn't matter.
Yeah, we goofed.
Yeah. Hi. None of us who can do math here. So basically this episode we are going to be discussing Dark Knight Rises. And some Zack Snyder and possible expectations of the movie we are going to see this week, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. So, who would like to begin?
It's basically what we're picking up 8 years after Harvey Dent's death.
Harvey Dent Day.
Yeah, Harvey Dent Day. It's got a holiday now.
Yeah, he has a holiday. Which is, I mean, he has a holiday, he has an act.
He has a sweet-looking portrait.
He has a sweet-looking portrait. He's got one sweet-looking portrait that keeps showing. And, we were talking about in the first Superman due process. There's a Harvey Dent law that just says due process, go fuck yourself.
You know, I come up with that parole.
Yeah. If you remember Falcone, one of the Joker's thugs, fuck you, you're in jail.
Yeah, I've been in jail for, they said, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
No parole, none.
How do you get away with that? Like, even if it was because of his death, I just can't see Harvey Dent being that big of a reason for them just to get rid of due process like that.
Well, the thing is, I kind of took it as like a reactionary thing. I mean, like, if you look at the climate today, now imagine a city that's finally come out of the darkness after, like, what, 25, 50 years. You know, of course you're going to take all... You don't have any middle ground at that point, you know. Basically, everybody who is fighting is, like, either Harvey Dent, who's dead, Gordon, who kind of gave up, and Batman, who disappeared. I mean, all of a sudden, law enforcement was given license, and a martyr. Harvey Dent was, like, definitely a martyr.
Yeah, martyrs are powerful.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually the new trope that, you know, the reason to keep the hero alive is because you don't want to turn him into a martyr.
So, it's revealed that Bruce has been a recluse for these 8 years, and Alfred calls him out on trying to, after he gets his mother's pearl stolen, Alfred calls him out on trying to drum up trouble for him to return as Batman, because he's just given up on life after Rachel's death.
But I don't think I was there after Rachel's death, because like I touched on in the last episode, it's just like Batman Begins, he's like, he can't save Gotham as Bruce Wayne. He's got to be a symbol. He's got to be something elemental, incorruptible. And then, you know, the last film, you know, Joker's like, you truly are incorruptible. And, you know, as I said before, it's just like, you know, the Joker won regardless of whatever decision Bruce made. You know, whether to let Harvey Dent be the murderer or he himself be the murderer. The Joker won. So I mean, it's just like, okay, he tries to save the world as Bruce Wayne. He creates this fusion reactor, and then it's weaponized, and all of a sudden it's like he can't do anything as Bruce Wayne. His one hope, you know, the dangling carrot for the last 2 films, Rachel, which I still kind of question if it was just the idea of being in a relationship with her, who is such a comfortable old friend, or if he really was in love with her, because he put her picture down and hopped into bed with Miranda pretty quickly. I mean, literally he puts the picture down and they start making out. So
that's true. Make themselves a fire and everything.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like, Rachel who?
I
guess
couldn't even remember her name when you picked up that picture.
Yeah. So who is this? That's a good question. I'll have to ask Alfred. Oh, yeah. He's gone.
You fell right into my trap. I mean, right away, we're going to just say spoilers, because there's something we're just going to spoil the shit out of The Dark Knight Rises. We've been spoiling the shit out of everything, so I'm going to kind of...
Yeah, we should start giving that warning, like, right at the beginning.
Yeah, because I want to discuss Miranda for a second. Only because I remember I went to see this movie on opening Friday morning with Beth and a friend of ours. 8:30 in the morning, went to the show. It was pouring rain. And I've been, like, waiting for this film for so long, because these are like 3 of my favorite movies. And I'm there, and I couldn't put the movie together until, like, about a half hour after I saw the movie, an hour, because I was, like, taking 100,000 notes frame by frame by frame. I kind of, like, watched the movie and missed it at the same time, save for one thing. I'm sitting there waiting for something to go wrong. I'm just, like, waiting for something to go wrong. And then he has a hallucination of Ra's al Ghul, and he goes, Bane's your child. I'm like, no, it's Talia. I'm like freaking out. I start blaming out my stuff. I'm stopping. I'm like, I can't believe you fucked this up. Wait, Miranda. Holy shit, Miranda's Talia. I'm like, because I'm like, yeah, because at the beginning I'm like, oh yeah, throw Miranda in. I mean, they threw in Rachel Dawes. It's not unprecedented to pull a character out of your ass and just be like, hey, you're designated love interest. Yeah. But as soon as I was like, I was freaking out in the theater. I was so afraid. I was like, oh man, you guys can't just fuck this up. And they did the subversion really good, because it was Talia's mom who was put in the pit, and she was born in jail. But in the comics, Bane's born in jail. Her mom was put. Yeah. I mean, that they combined the two stories really well. Because Bane grew up in an underground cell, and he had the seawater would come in at night. And even in this one, he says something about, looking up at the lights, like, men dying of thirst turning to seawater. It's just like, there are all these nice little subtle connections and parallels, even if it wasn't an apples to apples correlation to Bane's origin in Nightfall. It's just really, sorry to jump ahead, but I think that connection, the way they did Bane and Miranda and their backstories, I just think they did that so well. It's one of the reasons I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah, it's a great way to kind of finish Nolan's run, to keep the League of Shadows relevant, and to actually have it like intertwined through even though we didn't see it in the second one, like the callback for the first one, and for them to use characters like Talia al Ghul, Bane, which we've seen Bane, and it's a complete different version of what we saw in the other movie.
Yeah.
So it's cool to actually have them do characters that could be a little not I guess relatable, or even people that you've read about, not the popular character, so to speak. Talia, right. I guess, has just been kind of recent, one of the past 10 years.
No, I think Talia was wasn't she in the...
She's been around since the 80s at least.
Yeah, I was going to say late 80s. I knew late 70s was too early, but late 80s. She showed up. There's some story with her and Bruce or a Batman on a train somewhere. They were seeing her father, and I don't remember. I read it so long ago. All right, so anybody out there who's like listening to this going, fuck you, dude, you don't remember this shit? Yeah, I fucked up. Maybe. I don't know. I just remember there being a train or something.
Yeah, it was good to see her in this movie.
Yeah.
I really hoped.
And I like the callbacks, too, because we were talking about in Man of Steel how it's like every time Zod was on screen, it's like, here's a flashback exposition, or, you have like little... It's just like with each step, you got another piece of the puzzle. Because, like, and I love it how you're getting a true backstory, but a subversion of truth backstory when he has the vision of Ra's al Ghul. But when he showed up as Henry Ducad, that's what I meant, like, when we're watching the film, like, oh, another prison visit. Because he met Henry Ducad when he was in prison, and now he had the last vision of him when he was in prison. So there's this nice little symmetry there.
Bruce, we have to stop meeting like this.
I always wonder why they had that prison scene. Like, hallucination or... dream of some kind. It was just seemed out of place to me at first, but I'm fine with it now. But when I first watched it, I was like, all right, so
I just chalked that up as a fever dream.
yeah. But cool nonetheless.
I mean, if you think about it, it's him putting itself together. It's he putting all the pieces together himself.
Yeah.
Because when he's like, Bane's your child or whatever, and, you know, he's like nodding, you know, and, you know, Ra's al Ghul. So it's Bruce projecting himself onto Ra's al Ghul, his teacher. It's all of a sudden finally come back around. That's him saying, okay, look, you didn't do what was necessary, and now look where you are. Look where your city is. Who else is going to accuse him of that but Ra's al Ghul?
Just totally impressed with Tom Hardy. I remember first time I saw it, and even when we watched it just before, like Bane's. It's always interesting seeing him on screen.
That man's got presence.
Yeah.
It's like he's a threat, both physically and mentally.
Yeah. He did really well in Nolan's film before this, Inception. Like he was the steal. I mean, Inception I love. I mean, everybody was, since I think it's more complicated than it is. It's a heist film. It's basically what it is. And his character in that's so fucking good. He's just so great. And then, you know, Bane, and then of course Mad Max from last year.
Okay.
Tom Hardy's fucking awesome. He is even good in the shitty Star Trek Nemesis.
Oh god.
Yeah. And also, all right, here, back at the career of Tom Hardy. What was the not layer cake? Rock and Rolla.
Yes.
Rock and Rolla.
Handsome bulb.
Yeah. He's awesome.
It's like the transformation he went through from there to this.
And he's kind of I don't want to say he's a little guy, but like
He's a shorter dude.
He's a shorter dude. They had him on lifts or something for this, which is pretty hip.
Which works fine. Hey, like I said, he has presence. Every like paid a lot of attention to his actions and the movements he made and everything. The way he carried the character was amazing.
It's like especially his gait. Like whenever he would walk, it was like he was the man in charge.
Oh yeah.
No matter what situation he was walking into. Like I love the having his hands up on the collar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like right before he's about to throw down. Yeah. So where was I?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like he so at this point he finds Selena Kyle. And then starts noticing that shit's about to hit the fan once he realizes that his fingerprints have been stolen. So he chases, Gordon chases after, what was it, after the shootout, when Gordon goes into the sewer?
Yeah.
So then when Selena had ended up taking was that a councilman?
Yeah.
No, it was the
Congressman, Senator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just turn the tables on the guy once you use his cell phone.
Yeah. That was genius. That entire scene was genius.
Oh, I agree.
She had everything covered.
Yeah.
And at no point lost her cool.
No.
Everything down to shooting everybody else while still using the guy's hand.
Yeah.
To not leave any fingerprints.
And then knowing when to cry hysterically, and then she's like, gets herself out of there, and she all of a sudden switches back into character, like, you know.
Yeah, it's seamless. You see, she does it so fast, and it makes it look organic. Honestly, it natural to her. That was just great acting by Anne Hathaway. I was really skeptical with her too.
Yeah,
I kind of skimmed over her introduction with her, just like her establishing character moment when she's stealing the pearls, again lifting the fingerprints.
Yeah,
and then she's like you were saying with the oops.
Well, that was so cool because you don't know. I mean, I never noticed the pearls until he said that she's now wearing them.
She's wearing them. Yeah,
because you're expecting her when she's in the room to do the crime, and then when he sees her, she's already done the crime. Mm-hmm. And it's just I was like,
sure. Her walking around the room was after she had already done what she wanted her to do.
She was just like, I could leave now, but I'm really curious about who this person is. You know, I'm in Howard Hughes's, personal theater. Now, what am I going to do?
So, there's no jars of pee, so that's a plus.
Hey, what's this target over here? Oh, look, there's two arrows sticking out of it.
What if he practices archery? Oh my god!
Yeah, Anne Hathaway was. I agree with you. I had my doubts about her, and then
I think I had doubts for pretty much everyone that they got for a villain in these movies.
Yeah, actually, me too.
Yeah,
me too. And they always did a really good job at like staying true to the character, but still changing the character in such a way.
Putting their own twist on it.
I mean, like Selena. I mean, aside from her long hair, I mean, they do have like that year one stuff where she was living with the with one girl.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they even give her a name.
Yeah.
Or if maybe it was Juno Temple's character's name in this one. And then the whole, and like with the oops thing, like it's just like she was caught and she's kind of like, okay, you know, and it just
should have kicked his cane out from under him.
Yeah.
And then backflips out the window. It's done.
And she's always, because that's the great thing about Catwoman. I always thought that, you know, she walked the line really well. She was somebody who wanted to be good, but was incapable of being good because of what her life was and had been. And, you know, her and Batman are kind of like, you know, always kind of took it, they're always looking for redemption through one another. So she played that conflicted thing without ever once overplaying it. Like, you could always tell there's, like, parts of it where she's panicking, parts of it when she's scared, but she always maintains that facade that she could throw back into, that she can crawl, you know.
It's all in her eyes, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, her eyes just, like, betray, like, whatever emotion she's feeling, even if she keeps her face straight. And she always recovers, like, quickly afterwards, too.
Yeah. Oh, and it's Daggett. That was the businessman who's trying to take over Wayne Enterprises, Daggett.
I hated him. I wanted him to die so bad, and I'm so glad they did it.
I was, like, sitting here going, God, this guy annoys me so much, like, the actor. I'm like, why? And then I looked him up, and I'm like, oh, he was a dickhead in, oh, shit, what was that movie with Nicolas Cage? The Alex Proyas film. Did you ever see that movie? The Knowing. That was it. The Knowing. Yeah, remember, like, Nicolas Cage's friend from college who was, like, the naysayer, always, like, you know, Nicolas Cage is like, something's going on with the, whatever, you know, spoiler for, did you guys see,
I did.
You didn't?
You can talk about that.
Yeah, there's a deadly solar flare heading to Earth, and Nicolas Cage is predicting it, and his naysayer colleague is just like, you know, no, not. It was a shitty movie, and it was a shitty character, and so that's why when I saw Daggett, I'm like, I'm so glad he got killed, because you irritate me, and then again, then once I realized who he was, I'm like, yeah, that's why that movie has forever scarred you. You're never going to escape the knowing. I think that's when Nicolas Cage's career took a nosedive, too.
Yeah, he'll show up in the next Batman movie.
Oh my god. Oh my god, they better not make this guy show up as Scarecrow.
Oh, maybe.
Nicolas Cage.
Or Nicolas
Cage Scarecrow?
Or as the Riddler.
I don't know, my money's on... Oh no. Oh no. No, I definitely say my money's on Scarecrow.
I hope none of those.
Yeah.
Until I find out seeing him. Superhero movie.
Man number 3 who gets crushed by building. You know, some uncredited cameo.
Oh man, it's gonna be stuck in my head for a bit.
What's that?
Just trying to think of a Batman role for Nicolas Cage.
Well, that's something we can keep in the back of our minds while we're doing this podcast. Or, you know, we can always bring it up, like when we review the Dawn of Justice. It's like, hey, by the way, who would we cast in the next film as villains?
Nicolas Cage as a villain, like just his name. Just the actor's the villain.
Nicolas Cage. The Adam Westing himself.
Captain Boring.
Oh, Captain fucking Crazy. That's
I don't know. I think the last film I saw him in was, well, fell asleep during watching him was in the Wicker Man remake.
Oh god.
Oh my god, how boring was that movie?
I heard it was pretty bad.
It was pretty awful. But, you know, unlike this movie,
Yeah.
that wasn't cast well. This is really cast well. Nicolas Cage is nowhere to be seen in this movie, so bravo. I love they brought back Crane. Dr.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. Because he always makes an appearance. And I remember...
It's just great seeing a Batman villain come back for each movie.
Yeah. Proof that Batman villains don't have to die. Nor should they.
I'm glad. I wish all superhero movies kind of take that take that lead and just like not kill off the villain at the end.
I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I think they have to, because if we're a TV show, you try to be finding excuses for the villain to, live or to escape or whatever.
I mean, like sometimes it has to be done.
Yeah.
But like other times, just every once in a while, I'm thrown in jail or incapacitated.
Yeah.
Or give them a Disney death. Or like they fall off. I'll be back.
Left ambiguous.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Gotham is taken over, when it's put under martial law, when they threaten the city with blowing it up, when Bane takes it over and has his revolution, like the 4 or 5 months that the time frame that it goes off in,
which a hell of a short time span for somebody to heal a broken back.
Again, you gotta superhero films by nature, you have gimmies on. So
say, look, he's not paralyzed.
I don't know. They've spent a good amount of conversation describing the extent of injuries that his body had.
Yeah.
How he's got like no full range of motion in either of his joints.
Well, hot desert. It's like a big spa.
Maybe.
It's
hot. I guess I could play that. He just sweated all the bad energy out.
But also, once he decides to get off his ass and do something, which is probably fairly early on in the process, because he was put out of commission, then Bane did that thing, and after Bane took over the city, from then on he had 4 or 5 months to recuperate. What else are you going to do in prison?
Choose his workout.
Yeah.
12 hours a day.
Go out and,
He's doing Bruce Lee training regimen.
Yeah.
Trading food for cigarettes. I mean, that's going to really happen.
Yeah. They squeeze a little montage in there, him doing push-ups and chin-ups and everything.
And Tom Conti, the guy who plays his cellmate or whatever, he's like the unsung hero of this film. I think he was so great.
He definitely took Alfred's spot.
Yeah, he did. And again, it was a good way to get some exposition out there.
Would you say that the doctor would be his Mr. Fox? I wonder who was his Rachel. It's the one part of the montage they didn't show. Making him a wig out of mop. Or a mop head.
I don't know. Given the condition of those guys on there, I don't know if I want to know.
I did some things.
But then year one, it's also implied that Selena had been a prostitute, or was it overtly said. So he could be like, I did some things, and she'd be like, yeah, I did too. You got to do what you got to do to survive.
We're all whores in some way.
We all take one for the team at some point.
I was kind of wondering if they were going to, because then, what was it, The Long Halloween? When they'd given that, when they'd mentioned that Selena was possibly an illegitimate daughter of Falcone.
Oh.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know, part of me was kind of hoping they'd maybe shovel that in there at some point, but there was way too much story for them to really get into that.
No. And I like the, it's like, and I like this in Batman. There's a lot of parallels. He bookends things a lot because, Batman Begins, Batman didn't show up until an hour into the film. And in this one, he doesn't show up until 45 minutes into the film. And this is also, it's just like he's reestablishing himself. It was just an interesting take because I know I'm going to be defending this film a lot, so I apologize right off the bat if it doesn't sound like I haven't been preparing my defense of this film for a long time. But, it's a lot of people are complaining that Batman's not in the movie a lot. And if you think about it, in the other Batmans, I mean, you just had to create scene to scene to scene for a Batman to be in it. Because in a movie, it's different than a comic book. In a movie, you kind of have to know the character more. So they do focus on Bruce Wayne a lot more. Batman, I don't know, I've never clocked any of the films to figure out how long Batman's in here. But I feel like even if he was out of the middle of the film for a good long time, I don't feel that his time in there felt rushed or, that we got cheated out of anything, I think, because I think the narrative was so strong. And again, he shared time with the villains and all the other things, and it was this complete world, because, you had followed, Gordon through this. Gordon did give up at the same time Bruce Wayne did, because he lost his family. They moved away. It affected his marriage. He's obviously depressed. He obviously just apathetic, because there's peace in our time, and he knows the cost of it. So it was a redemption thing, not only for Bruce Wayne, Batman, but it was a redemption story for Gordon too. Who again was more affected than, once again, Gordon is hands-on.
Yeah. As opposed to the bowler hat wearing fool.
Who's in charge down there?
You are, sir.
You are. You're a commissioner.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Answering the spotlight in his jammies. Like, that's... if we backtrack to that scene. What kind of cop shows up to a break-in at a police station and doesn't even change out of their pajamas?
Which one was that? Was that Batman?
That was Forever.
That was Batman Forever, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And that was the Batman Forever. That was also when he volunteered to be part of Enigma's plan. He's like, here, we're going to plug you into the, the TV. It's just like, okay. He's like, Gordon volunteers. I'm like, oh my God, you're like the worst. And it's so funny to look back on those the other films now.
I do miss like the
campiness.
The dumb Gordon.
It's really funny, because we could sit here and we talk about all the merits of the new films and so forth, but like looking back, it's just kind of like, it's like it's so much easier. It's just like, what's that say? Are we like cynical that it's so much easier to rip apart shitty movies? Which one of them is going to be like, we need to open up a bottle at the beginning of this, because this ain't going to end well. It's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Which actually we never did, because I was actually sick for half of these podcasts as it took place over the winter.
That probably didn't help you get any better. Nuclear Man. Oh, my fever's coming back. My fever's coming back.
I just had this fever dream.
Why does John Cryer have that accent?
The real reason you got sick.
Oh my God, I had this really fever dream. Batman put all these nuclear weapons in a net and threw it at the sun. Man, I felt... Batman, Superman. Did I say Batman?
Yeah, you did.
I said Batman.
That'd be a sweet-ass dream.
Oh my God. Yeah, Superman threw these nuclear weapons into the sun. And who would have... it's like in Batman and Robin, it's just like that... Whoever wrote that did have a fever dream, because...
Yeah, that whole movie was... Somebody was on something.
Unlike this movie.
I don't
know. Gordon's one contemporary, the guy that showed up with his dress blues at the end, he was definitely on something to decide to go after Batman instead of the armed robbers.
Yeah, that kind of...
Like, you just had these guys kill multiple people.
Yeah. You know what? I guess he knew... Well, the senator told him that, Gordon was out in the fall, so maybe he was vying for police commissioner. He figured, well, if I bring in...
It's like greed.
Exactly. If I bring in Harvey Dent's killer, maybe they'll pick me for police commissioner now,
Yeah, he just fucked up this whole movie. The only good thing that he did was show up on the street and lead those men into the fight.
I mean, it's really funny, because for the longest time I couldn't really figure out why his character was in this movie. And Foley actually was a minor character in something. I had to look him up. I don't think he was in Nightfall. He may have been in Nightfall. But anyway, it's just like, wow, you really just want this verisimilitude that, it's like, hey, we know the universe. We know who's supposed to be in there. But still, like, his character is kind of useless. I mean, as opposed to, except for being a foil. I mean, he did his purpose. He was like more of a plot device.
He was there to make John Blake look good.
Yeah,
that's what his purpose was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was a plot device. He wasn't really...
Yeah.
Why do I have to listen to you, sir? You're not even really here. Just here to move the story forward. Give me an obstacle to overcome to become Batman.
Yeah, the whole hot-headed thing. I kept like, really? He's like not even that hot-headed. Like, he's not going off the handle or anything.
Yeah, I never really... I mean, his was the weakest character of the film. Without question. And his dialogue was the weakest out of all of them. And you could tell the scenes where he actually had something to say, even if it was trite. And other things where he was just kind of there to make Blake look good.
Yeah.
Because in those scenes, he's completely transparent. In the other ones, he's kind of looks like this, douchebag, hotshot.
So this was the first time I noticed how much of a badass he was, where at the end he had stolen one of the automatic weapons from Bane's crew. It was just mowing down people.
And I think Bane's henchman, I think he was originally supposed to be Deadshot, or they were going to imply that he was Deadshot.
That would have been a short match then.
Yeah, no, but I think it would have been kind of cool not to, if they had, I don't know if that was true or not, but that was the whole thing with the scarf and everything. I'm like, what would have been really cool is just to kind of keep him there, but always have like a rifle or something, because he had the bandolier, thank you, over his chest, and it would be so cool if he had just always had a rifle, and maybe like, goggles or something, his one eye patch, not even draw any major attention to it. Just make it look like he's a sniper. So, like, it's an Easter egg.
Yeah.
Like Zaz was in the first movie, even though they named him.
I guess Batman would have to just blow him off the roof at that point.
Yeah, like I said, you wouldn't even have to really use him for much. Maybe you use him here and there when they're taking over the city or something. You don't even have to have him have a showdown with Batman. But just have him be like an Easter egg.
It seemed like Bruce was kind of racking up the kills this one.
Yeah, he kind of went off a little bit.
I guess that time in the prison really did change.
Well, the 8-year hiatus also. Yeah. He was just a little trigger happy.
No guns.
I use the guns.
It'd be great. Just snatches it from her and blows the guy's brains out. I'm the only one that gets to use this.
Or we could do a Batman Green Arrow crossover in the same movie. He was like, I've been practicing for... I've been reinventing myself. I've been practicing as an archer. Maybe I'd get some green armor now.
Yeah, Batman's dead. Green Arrow, I know this, oh my god, that's perfect. Then he can set himself up in, was it SAR City? Now instead of being billionaire Bruce Wayne, he's billionaire Oliver
Queen.
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
just dyes his hair blonde.
You could have him like, in the house when he goes there with Miranda and the drawers open and you see a passport with Bruce's picture on it. This is all. What's this? Nothing.
It's like all the heroes with no powers. It's just got those passports with those names on there. Who's Richard Grayson? Hey.
And that was the other thing. I figured it would be odd, like where she's at the end, use her to John Blake after they think Bruce Wayne's dead.
I was hoping she'd say Tim Drake.
I was thinking Tim Drake, or she was going to say you should, use proper name Richard or something like that. Yeah.
Because he was dead. Oh my! He was very close. His characterization was, or at least his history was very close to Tim's.
Yeah.
Or Jason's.
Well, that's what I thought with Blake. I figured maybe Drake. I kind of left it in. I mean, I guess the whole point was that he would, just follow in Batman's steps, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Plus, in the comics, Tim was the one that tracked down Nightwing first. So he'd realized that he was Robin by watching one of his old, acrobat shows. And figured out that from there, that Bruce Wayne was Batman. All the tender age of, 13?
Yeah.
Which I think he was around, or John was around that age when Bruce Wayne came to visit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, yeah, you're right. The parallels would have worked. Maybe that was just,
It's accident. A coincidence. There we go.
I mean, if they named him Drake, they would probably have given it up too soon. I guess that's why they're like saying, it was Blake instead of Drake. But
yeah, they had to change it, which is fine.
Yeah,
I mean, it could just be another long list of Robins that have joined the team as well. Now he's canon.
I mean, it's not even like the films are sacrosanct, because even in Nightfall, you had the character of Bane, invented for that story. And so you use him in the movies, and if you look at the movies as like extension of the comics, then why not bring in if you're going to create your own mythology, why not bring in a new character? It's not unprecedented for the comics. Nothing's really sacrosanct. So why in the movies? As long as they get the established characters right, I don't really care how else they play with the mythology. but don't turn Penguin into an actual animal, human hybrid. Anything like stupid like that.
Form baby.
My God, who eats fish?
Raw fish.
Yeah.
Some of them might still be alive.
Exactly. And again, this movie, it's all three of these movies are all, the endings of all these films are amazing. Like, it's like if you don't notice Hans Zimmer's music, it's just like after Batman's Sacrifice, you've got this lush pastoral stuff. And, the second, Fox is like, wish there was something we could do. With the guy, with the automatic pilot system of the Bat, it's like, there's a patch on it, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
What's the name on it? Bruce Wayne, and all of a sudden you hear the... It's just so great. And it just built up from there, and about the point where they hit the drums where Batman would be,
Is that when they cut to the spotlight?
Got to the spotlight.
Or when they cut to the spotlight did they cut to the Gordon looking at the spotlight?
No, it was still the bump bump. That was when Blake first goes into the Batcave. When he realizes where he is or sees it, and when Alfred sees Bruce at the table, here's it's just like Bruce wanted to give Alfred,
that final bit of closure.
Yeah, it's just like I had to disappear from the world. And I have been coming to this cafe every night for the last 4 months, waiting for you, old man. You were here the other night, but I couldn't get you to look away from your paper. I did everything but jump up and down on my seat. Finally, the payoff's here. Gives him a nod, and he's like, "Okay, Selena, we can go to another country now."
I'm sure he had somebody tailing him. He is Batman.
That is true, and that's another thing. It's with the time, the 5 months. I mean, they definitely, gave you enough time to notice that like weeks and months were passing by, even between cut scenes. Mm-hmm. So, the fact, because Batman, when you go back to him when he escapes, there's like 23 days or 21 days, definitely more than like overnight, before the bomb's going to go off. So Bruce Wayne has traveled the world for 7 years. I could see him being able to get back into Gotham.
Yeah.
I noticed the other side of the world. That, I figure, he's been probably doing that for at least 10 days, which is not unprecedented. But
so I have no problem with the amount of time it took him to get there. It's him spending the time making that gasoline Batman symbol, and then like somehow making a trail from there all the way back to the beginning of where they send people for exile.
Well, it made a good shot. Again, I'm going to give it some artistic license here because. In movies like this, you kind of have to let them have their little, dramatic, maudlin little links or little moments.
Yeah, they had fun with a lot of stuff, which is great because if you're going into this movie thinking it's going to be your last, they did a great job with the other two. Just have fun with this one. It was like a little light of humor. Some of the things that we were laughing at, which like Batman's deliveries on some lines and everything. It just brought it was a lot of humor and it's funny. And Nolan really outdid himself with the action. Hans Zimmer with the music. So it was more relaxing. It was intense. There was a lot of really good action.
And I know you either love Nolan's action or you hate it because that's basically what I've heard. And I always like his take on the car chases for all three films because I find car chases really, really boring. And unless you're George Miller or somebody like that who really knows how to choreograph these things, they can be boring. You have the same old shots. And in all three films, Nolan takes the car chases, shoots them differently. Like this one, I noticed he did a lot, he would do the close-up stuff when, they were in the underground, streets or whatever. But as soon as they got above ground, he would use these wide shots. He'd pan across. You kind of see it like the news helicopter would. Like you were kind of like in that viewer at home kind of see thing. You see Batman, but you're still at the same time separated from him. You're not like, you're not as much inside the Batmobile or with the Batpod as you were in the first 2 movies.
Speaking of chase scenes, like the quickness that Selena mastered driving the Batpod.
I'm sure she's hot-wired enough cars in her life.
No.
Enough things in her life.
I bet she probably got to take a few for a spin during those 5 months.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's just like, what does this do? And just like fires out another Batpod out of a tumbler.
I stole her tumbler from Bane's crew just because I could.
We'll take my plane. No, we'll take my car. It's got cat ears on it.
Oh my god, I have to say, that was such a work of brilliance with the cat ears, where they're the goggles, and she puts them up, you get the little...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was just fucking genius. Absolutely genius, because you got the goggles, and you got the cat ears. You don't have them at the same time, but, you have Selena's goggles, and you got... I mean, it was just so perfect. Whoever came up with that idea, that was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking brilliant.
Gotta give the costume department a shout out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just absolutely outstanding.
That, and I want Bane's coat. I think it's fantastic.
Seriously. You look good in it.
Oh, thank you.
You look very good in it.
It's like I got the bald head already. Just need the mask. Just walk around like this.
Dude, that would definitely work for you. Could you get your mom to make you one?
Yeah, I have to find a seamstress.
Yeah, if you don't know, in reviewing audience, Rich is what, 6'4"?
5.
6'5". All right, see. So yeah, he'd fill out the
I would still wear lifts just to get that be that much more.
Oh yeah, because
6'10".
That's a good look.
You gonna get big high heels?
Do you feel in charge?
Yeah, it's like, is that like, what would you do? Lifts or, heels?
Oh yeah, Veronica said we had to talk about the heels.
Oh, yeah.
Catwoman's heels.
Yeah,
multifunctional heels.
Multifunctional heels. They get a serrated edge on it.
Well, you be Veronica's proxy.
Oh yeah.
So, what was she going to say about them?
Yeah, what was she going to say about them? No, basically she was just saying they look nice the entire...
They're badass, yeah.
Yeah, they're badass. I'm just over the whole women wearing heels at every given time, especially when it comes to...
Crime
fighting,
like any tactical situation.
But see, at least the great thing again is they put functionality into the costume, because the heels weren't just because she's a woman. They actually they were like serrated. They, she could actually put at somebody's throat and actually threaten them. So she had like another appendage to actually hold a knife to somebody's throat. And when they were completely functional, there's a knife at it. She could cut down the painter's scaffolding thing.
Oh yeah.
They made it a function of her costume, like the cat ears and the goggles. They made it all functional, which is really fucking brilliant. Definite shout out to the costume department. And getting back to Tom Hardy too, because in the comics, the mask of Bane fills him with the venom. Yeah. And he kind of like hulks out almost. And in this, when he, there was something about keeping, I guess it keeps
the pain from his facial surgery at bay.
What was it? What was it like morphine in a gas?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But it was really great that when Batman, punched his mask and started disassembling it, like how disoriented he got, like how Tom Hardy, who only had his eyes to act with, really expressed like there was pain going on, there was confusion going on. You could see him weakening. You don't see him physically weakening with his muscles, but you see him as a character weaken. Yeah. And then when Talia puts the mask back together where she's talking to him, you're seeing this broken person. And as with, a lot of... what makes him also a great villain is he's also sympathetic. Because you realize if anything were different, none of these people would be where they were. Yeah. Bane had a good heart. He protected Talia. And this is how, he grew up because of this. But he had a good heart. So he's like a tragic hero. And he's a tragic villain. Yeah. He's very sympathetic. I love characters with dimension, and villains with dimension are the most important.
Yeah. You want to be able to see things from their point of view.
Yeah.
Although you don't want them to be like the villain just because they have to be, just because they have to do something evil.
Some mustache twirler.
Yeah.
No, Bane had a lot of depth. And Talia, I think, was kind of was psychotic because when she's just like, Talia, my mother named me Talia. It's like all of a sudden she kind of like went Stepford Mom on her. Yeah. Where she's kind of like got this bug-eyed, deranged look on her face. It's like, I have been unmasked now. I am actually this fucking psychopath who will fucking kill you.
It's like, now I don't have to pretend to be normal.
It was so difficult having that mask on. And the two little nods that she was...
Surprised Blake didn't pick up on that.
What?
The mask. Because he talked about how he immediately knew that Bruce was Batman.
Oh, yeah.
He should have been able to be like, just walk up.
but he didn't know Ra's al Ghul. I mean, she gave him two very important hints. Mm-hmm. Like, when they're at the charity ball, she's like, you have to invest if you want to restore balance. And that's one thing that Ra's al Ghul said in the first film, creating balance. And at the end, or with Ra's al Ghul in the first movie, is always like, you fail to do you always fail to do what is necessary. And, she's like, where Fox is like, can you get Miranda out of the city? He goes, and Bruce is like, not tonight. And she's just like, do what you feel is necessary. I mean, it's like, there's a number of ways you could have phrased that, but it was a really great callback to Ra's the way he was in the first film.
Yeah, definitely showed she was his daughter.
Yeah. I just like how all these details seem to be thought out. I mean, Foley's character comes off the weakest because everything else is so well thought out in this movie. Every little detail. Except for shooting in New York and LA. I hate when they shoot in New York or LA. I just wish they'd kind of like digitized out the Empire State Building or the, things like that.
Well, they still didn't have the Central Liberty this time around.
Yeah, they did delete that. They did cut around that. I mean, yeah, and I have to say, in some shots where they didn't show any landmark buildings, they did a really good job showing that, Gotham was basically 3 islands. Like in the first one, they really made a point in doing that with Chicago, and for that one, when Bruce comes back with that one look over like sunrise or sunset, where you can kind of see that Gotham is like, these 3 islands on the coastline. They did a really good job with establishing that. So as long as like, any recognizable buildings were in it, I was like fine with it. But anytime I saw one of them, I'm like, oh God, New York and LA, God damn it. Shoot somewhere else.
Well, speaking of Gotham, I mean, we got a very different look from where the other 2 movies that we saw. It was like the other ones were kind of, well, the first one's pretty bleak, obviously. A lot of it was shot in the dark. The shadows were, were present. And in this one, it was like very bright. Like there was sunny days. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of action happened during the day.
It's weird. It's so weird seeing Batman operate with the sunlight.
Yeah, that was
so. It looks so jarring with him just like standing in broad daylight, fighting somebody.
Yeah, that was. I remember seeing production stills, and I'm like, wow, Batman's fighting in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't wait to see this scene. I always kind of figured that was a scene before, because the hero's always got to go down for the count somehow in the middle of the film to kind of get him to regroup. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this has to be like, the middle fight, And then when it turns out that was the ending fight, I'm like, wow.
That would be great. Just break his back in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody at home going, damn!
Damn.
Yeah, I've seen the news feed. Batman beat by Bane, KO.
Batman broke the
submission by submission.
Just like people doing memes.
Oh yeah, or do the thing to like "We Will Rock You," so
like a Kit Kat commercial.
Give me a break.
So where would you guys put this? Because it's, as I said, with all three of these films, to me, whatever film I'm watching is my favorite one, because I think they're all three parts of one film, but three parts that, except for this one, that could be taken independently. To me, like, The Dark Knight is totally like Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, because you go in there with an established character or characters, and they reestablish them quickly, effectively, and you get to know these guys without bogging down with a lot of exposition. The first one, if we never got anything after that, still a satisfying movie, except you want to see the Joker. And then for this one, knowing it is the third chapter, the cutoff, and that there's three distinct acts in this movie, really. That's what I have to say about all the Nolan films, actually. All the acts are very distinct. So, I mean, I'm just curious, because, now that we've done the whole Nolan trilogy, we've been like kind of like looking back in the past and making fun of the other movies. What's your take on the Dark Knight trilogy? What Nolan's done?
I think it was great that he had a set story for all. He's able to craft a overarching story for all three films, whether or not they could, like, even though each one can kind of be taken by itself.
Mm-hmm.
But just like the recurring themes, the being able to connect, like with the flashback scenes, whenever anything happened to any of the characters, they would pull up like a flashback to maybe the first movie, especially with Bruce, like when he's being let down the hole into the prison, and it cuts back to his father rappelling down, asking him, why do we fall? Or Gordon, as it's dawning on him that that's Bruce Wayne, when it cuts back to him putting the coat on his shoulders. I really appreciate him being able to so easily just go back in between, like, to his own story, and not even miss a beat.
I mean, that's my single favorite line of the movie. Where she goes, anybody can be a hero, even someone who does something as simple as put a coat over a young boy's shoulder to let him know the world hadn't ended. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, what a fantastic line. And like you said, throwing in that little snippet is just such a great way to close out their relationship.
Yeah, it's very sentimental and sent off.
He had room for everybody, except Alfred, though.
Yeah.
Alfred has a drink in his paper, and he knew Bruce was okay.
Yeah.
And he probably had a good...
Alfred probably got the last and best one.
And
poor Lucius doesn't... Oh, no, Lucius doesn't know with the autopilot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucius knows with the autopilot, plus he got the company. Alfred got money, so, he's basically taking care of everybody. He took care of the city.
Mm-hmm. Plus, Alfred will run into Lucius at one point, and they'll, like, allude to each other knowing that he's still alive.
I always like to think, like, what happens after this movie,
I'm sure I would like to think that they all meet up at Bruce's grave every year. Give him a holiday instead of to make up for the one they lost with Harvey Dent.
Well, I just keep thinking, like, John Blake, obviously he's known who Fox is, and now they know who Batman is, and there's...
But he needs a lot of training in order to be anything.
But since the four of them all knew who Batman was, so once he's, like, gets this whole big, Batcave computer thing, I'm sure the first person he's going to do is go to Fox and be like, hey, Mr. Fox, remember that time before where, we went out for coffee, like, or whatever, after Bruce died? Remember that? Remember what you were saying, how you built all those things for him to help make Batman? Do you know how to operate in this shit in this cave I found underneath?
Yeah, but even still, like, all that technology in the world is not going to help you without the tactical experience and fighting skills.
No, but they established that he knew how to fight, but at least...
Barely.
But at least...
Oh, well, he did knock out fucking Teal'c.
He did knock out Teal'c. But, I'm sure he can get training somehow. I mean, but, probably about the time he learns how to work all that equipment. Give him plenty of time.
2 years. I'll give him 2 years.
Give him 2 years.
Maybe Bruce will be his trainer.
That's one thing I like to think about. Like, he died, and he still kind of is present in their life, but not permanent. So you just be like, Alfred would go out shopping, get groceries, and Bruce is just there. He's like, oh, hey,
it'd be great if that's how all their meetings went from now on. It's like going out, like wherever he's at, he just goes out to say happy birthday to Bruce, and like Bruce just like kind of pops up wherever he's at, gives him a nod.
Well, I also mentioned it during the movie. It's just, they're sitting in Florence, and they just see a tourist going like, "Are you Bruce Wayne? Hey, take a picture of me and Bruce Wayne, post it on Facebook or something." And then it's like he can't just go out there with.
Can you imagine that? It's just like, hey, what this picture? Instagram. It's on Instagram. Bruce Wayne's there with some chick.
That's Selena Kyle.
Selena Kyle.
It's like that clean slate program didn't work. Oh, it would be even better if it was a 10-year-old that found it to circle back to that.
Yeah, the 12-year-old with a cell phone.
Yeah.
And not if you give him a smartphone, just give him one of those basic laptop camera phones.
Or a Nokia brick.
That would be awesome.
Yep, it says right here, Selena Kyle. Cat burglar.
I mean, so if you guys had to, say if it was 6-6, and this was a tiebreaker, and you had an extra point for Man of Steel, just curious, playing devil's advocate here, would you give this movie the point, or would you ultimately circle back and give Man of Steel a point?
I have to say, when I first saw this one, even though I enjoyed it, I felt it was like the weakest out of the three. Mm-hmm. But after seeing it a few more times, and actually like noticing things more, and seeing how it carries the story forward, like fairly organically, I like it a lot better around now.
Yeah, I agree with you. At first, it is a lot to take in. I mean, I was catching things even on the third, fourth rewatch, and it did get better. And for me, I'd say Dark Knight Rises, because it's very tight.
It's also difficult since it's the third movie in the series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To like put it up against Man of Steel, which hasn't even had any. Well, its sequel's coming out this week, and that's not even going to be a fair sequel.
Right?
Yeah. It's going to be it's pretty much the prequel for Justice League.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of like trying to fit. Like with last time, it's just like, okay, here's a middle installment versus a new beginning. You kind of have to judge it as a movie. Like you kind of like say, okay, as a movie, how does this do with establishing the characters or re-establishing the characters, and how does this one do establishing this new world? So if you take it like that, even if it is a third installment, if it's put together a little more tight, it's still a tighter movie. It has nothing to really,
Yeah.
So okay, so Batman would have won the tiebreaker then.
Yeah.
Which, oh man, he came from far behind.
Yeah, that's too dirty films.
To just return and win with a vengeance.
I've been giving a lot of thought, like, coming into this last podcast before we go see the new movie, that which films do I not want to see again? It's just like if somebody said, okay, out of these films, which ones would you watch again and which ones wouldn't? I'd say like the Burton films and Superman Returns. If I never saw either one of those three again, I'd be fine. I could sit through any of the other ones, any of the other bad ones.
Really?
That last Superman or the Superman
4, The Quest for Peace.
That one was rough.
Yeah, but at least in real time, it's 90 minutes. No matter how long it felt like, at least you're only going to be giving up 90 minutes of your life. As opposed to the 2+ hours, the Burton films.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And I could watch those. I could watch those again with a drinking game.
Yeah.
Like every time Gordon does something foolish or bumbling,
or every time something could have been avoided if Gordon did his job.
Every time Alfred brings somebody to the Batcave.
Every time Batman killed somebody.
Yes. That's a double shot.
It's even further too. Every time Alfred's a dick, it's like there's passive aggressiveness in between them.
Every time Bruce Wayne does something creepy with a woman.
Yeah.
You haven't even had a drink yet, and I have this many. Yes.
He's like, I don't drink.
Just follow me up to the bed.
Yeah, exactly. How, Bruce Wayne, how clingy his girls. Well, I don't know. I guess Selena wasn't too clingy. She was
Clingy. Vicky was clingy.
Vicky was way.
And then Chase was just using him.
Yeah, I can never remember her character. Was it Chase?
Chase Meridian.
Chase Meridian.
She was basically just having fun with the fact that she was studying Bruce Wayne and Batman.
She was kind of a tease. She was a dick tease because she teased one of them, give one blue balls, and just be like, "All right, out of here." Then meet with the other one and be like, blue balls, I'm out of here.
She probably wrote a sweet fucking book, though. My Night with Batman.
Oh, wow. Any final thoughts on... So Batman was a clear winner. Before tonight, he would have won the tiebreaker. And is there anything, I figure if we want to take some, if there's any... If there's, I don't want to cut the conversation short if there's more you want to discuss with The Dark Knight Rises, or the Nolan trilogy, or...
No, but I'm sure we'll end up circling back at some point.
Yeah.
Something hits us.
Because we could start,
for the predictions for...
Dawn of Justice. Well, give me... Alright, let's get our opinions of Zack Snyder out there, because I mean, as a director, Zack Snyder to me is a great cinematographer. But as a director, there's only one film of his that I love, and that's Watchmen. Man of Steel I thought was okay. You guys liked it more than I did, but I thought 300 was okay. It wasn't really memorable. He did an animation
about 300.
I thought it was okay. No, but that's what I'm saying. And I hated Dawn of the Dead, even though not Zach Penn. Who directed? Who directed Guardians? He came through
Guardian. Don't remember.
Well, even though the guy who wrote Guardians, and I'll look this up, he wrote the screenplay. I absolutely hated Dawn of the Dead. And he did this animation, what's that movie called with Sucker Punch?
Yeah.
That was a pretty film. A little lacking on the story.
It was a great music video.
Yeah, it's very true.
But what's your, so how do you guys rate Zack Snyder?
I think he's done well with I think he did well with Man of Steel. I just wish he'd use a little bit less lens flare and Christ imagery. But if he can tone that down for the second one, oh god, no, he's not. He's going to probably crank that shit up to 11.
Probably. I mean, he has a really great vision. I think just he needs to have the story there to have it come out in the right way. Because it was the one that you mentioned. I don't have it here. The Sucker Punch was just... It was great action, but everything else was just forgettable about it. At least to me.
And it's James Gunn, by the way, in case anybody's not aware. James Gunn wrote Dawn of the Dead, and the other film, he did a CGI animated film called Legend of the Guardians, Owls of Goal, and it was like a 90-minute movie, and the first half was so good, but the other half was just such a clusterfuck. And Beth's like, yeah, it's actually a trilogy of book. They did the first book in 45 minutes and shoehorned
the last two in.
Yeah,
that's fucked up.
Wow. Sorry, I just wanted to get those last thoughts out there because I started about 3 sentences before. So,
how do you fit 3? Oh my god, that's just set yourself off a failure.
But that goes to what you guys were saying about needing somebody to actually being able to write for him.
Mm-hmm. He's got a team this time, so he's got Nolan and the Nolans and
I don't think the Nolans are doing this one.
Really, I haven't read it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Let's see if I can find that.
No, I don't think Nolan's working on it. We're gonna find out from Louis in a minute.
Oh, this does not bode well.
Oh no.
My worry is just that there's going to be too many characters to take focus away from the story.
Yeah.
When the new one?
No, he didn't. No, none of the Nolans worked on it, or none of the Nolans wrote it. Let's put it that way.
Chris Terry and David Goyer.
Goyer's on there.
Yeah, but Goyer also wrote some, by himself wrote some stinkers. So, I mean, the guys that got to do Watchmen were, obviously Dave Gibbons' story, and then David Hayter, who worked on the first X-Men movies. So I mean that explains that, and as Scott and I, our friend Scott and I, were talking about, it's just like with Watchmen, except for because Warner Brothers made them change the ending of the movie, and I don't know why they had Rorschach cut that guy up as opposed to letting him just burn to death in the the two changes they made in the movie. I that one I don't understand, but even when Warner Brothers made them change the ending. Okay, Warner Brothers chickened out. They weren't afraid. They didn't buy the giant alien thing. But
that's that was fine that they changed that for me. But the reactions of the heroes is what bothered me, because in the comic, they're their ideals are effectively defeated. Like they just give up and go with what Adrian was saying. Just like, yeah, he's right. We needed this to happen. Mm-hmm. We'll keep this a secret. And you could see that, was it Night Owl and Silk Spectre? They go on fighting crime, kind of, but it's just they're on the run and just doing it to get out there and let off some steam in life, basically, instead of trying to make a difference in the world. I feel. And in this one, they're just no, we'll never give up. You'll never win. We'll always know.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, Snyder had the film storyboarded him, but the changes Warner Brothers made him change. And yeah, I can see that that minor character change. But at least they, I mean, from a narrative point of view, and knowing how long the movie was anyway, to establish the whole thing with the alien, so it wouldn't look like out of left field. There was another plot thread you had to have. Mm-hmm. So okay, but I thought whatever the changes they need to make, to put the blame on Dr. Manhattan, I that didn't bother me as much. And I guess obviously the changes that you had mentioned didn't bother me. Mm. I know a lot of people hated it, but I'm like, the studio, they're chicken shits.
I liked it for what it was.
I thought it was great.
The director's cut I still have to check out, but
I've got it if you want to borrow it.
Oh no, I have it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten around to it because it has the Tales of the Black Freighter, right?
Oh wait, wait. Well, there's two cuts. There's one. The one I have doesn't have the Tales of the Black Freighter. Does the one you have it?
Yeah, it's 3 hours plus, I think, or it's supposed to be.
It's like watching the Lord of the Rings.
Seriously. Yeah. Well, because I know we have the director's cut without that, and it's, I think in the movie it was 2.5 hours, and with the stuff without even the Black Freighter stuff is about 3 hours. And we rented the disc that was just the Black Freighter stuff for that, because they put that out on its own disc. Mm-hmm. It was just as disturbing as the story with this story.
That's a fucked up story.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting seeing all these, hopefully not origin parts in the Dawn of Justice.
I'm wondering how they're going to do it. Are there going to be other established heroes? Or...
I could see it easily happening. That's Batman has since retired, but Wonder Woman just comes in, not have to...
Or maybe he's kept...
Be Amazon.
Or maybe Superman's one of a few heroes that he's kept tabs on.
Yeah.
Well, I heard Suicide Squad is going to open the Joker's part of the story with Batman catching him. I heard Affleck's in that. Mm-hmm. I think I saw protection skills where the Batmobile's in it. So, I mean, Batman may not be completely retired. I don't know. how they're going to work this in.
I don't think they established that he's retired in this movie. Just that he's maybe not as active as he used to be.
Yeah, that might be it.
Like he only comes out for the big stuff that the cops can't handle. Like, isn't J.K. Simmons supposed to be Gordon?
Yeah, in the next movie, yeah.
It's
supposed to be, I can't see that, but, you know.
Need to get him back for J. Jonah Jameson.
He's perfect for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because with Lex Luthor being kind of like this Zuckerberg type, you know.
Typecasting.
Yeah, I don't really see... I understand them trying to switch up the mythology, but I really don't... that is the biggest stumbling block, because I really love Jesse Eisenberg, but I just don't... I don't see it. I just don't understand where they're going.
I mean, I can still have a young-ish Lex Luthor about just making him the same age as Clark.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they did in Smallville, isn't it?
Oh, he was like slightly older, but still younger than the youngest incarnation that they've ever had.
I want to see Aquaman. Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I'm sure he's only going to be in it for like 30 seconds, but I fucking can't wait. Whoever thought like you'd ever say...
Just start speaking in Dothraki.
Oops. Two things when we started this podcast I never thought I would say. That Batman and Robin was the best out of the 4 Batman movies, and I was dying to see Aquaman.
Yeah, maybe this. I bet those 30 seconds that he's in is going to make everybody that ever made fun of Aquaman just eat their words.
It's Jason Momoa. Did you see the suit of armor or whatever they put him in? And again, he was on Stargate Atlantis, so you got an Atlantean playing an Atlantean. So, you know, no typecasting there, Jason. At least you're not doing Conan again.
Bet they he's gonna leap off of a ship and then come back with a Cthulhu or a fucking Kraken. Snapping battleships in half.
And then also Flash and Cyborg.
Are they going to put Cyborg in this movie?
Yes, they are.
Are they really?
Cyborg, yeah.
They're not putting Flash in this movie. He's just going to... They're putting
Flash
in
is
this
in it.
movie?
Yeah, Flash is in it.
No fucking
Who knows
way.
how, at one point, but I see them all. Just classic.
The only thing that I hope they don't do is just whatever happens, I don't want them to line up as a team or a freeze frame right before the credits roll, because I was just
see, that was clever when they did it in Age of Ultron, where he's like, Avengers! And they cut the black, you don't hear the assemble part. But oh my god.
But I don't think it has any place in this sequel.
They haven't earned it. Yeah. Not at all.
No, I definitely want to see this coming movie to end with them in a circle and then end on a joke. Because that's exactly what I'm expecting. I can see this movie going through a range of emotions. Just some of it's going to be gritty and angry.
Green Lantern's going to show up and it's going to be Guy Gardner instead of any of the others.
Yeah,
It's Ben Affleck punching the shit out of him.
My thing is, there's going to be a blonde secretary or something that they're going to shoehorn in running throughout the movie. And at the end, when they form into a circle ready to do their one line, Power Girl's are going to walk out of the shadows. It's going to be that blonde secretary who's been there the whole time. She's going to be in her mind if I join the party? Or something like that.
And me too.
Anybody else? You see Wildcat, Jay Garrick. The Atom's been there the whole time. Nobody's noticed.
Wait, what's this in my hair? Oh, wait. Yeah, there's
Wonder Woman looks out. Ray.
Let's do Identity Crisis.
I'd love to see the Question now. That'd be kind of creepy.
Oh my god. Yeah, I would like to see a movie with him, even if they just do a TV show.
It's gonna be interesting seeing all these characters on screen, man. It's it's Avengers all over again.
Yeah, they have that the next movie. They have to blow it out of the water and do
I it's really funny because I had coming in this year, I wanted to see 3 films. I wanted to see Captain America 3 because I thought Captain America, the last one, goddamn it, The Winter Soldier is like a goddamn perfect film. I think it's probably it was one of the best films of that year. Definitely the best Marvel film. I keep forgetting Guardians is part of the same universe because James Gunn said I'm not creating a Marvel superhero movie. I'm creating the science fiction adventure, which is why in my mind it's always hard to connect the two. Because I don't want to take anything away from Guardians.
Well, it fits with the comics too, because they keep the cosmic stuff so far removed. From whatever's happening on Earth.
I mean, even though like between the two worlds, it's been Thanos who's kind of like the linchpin. So I don't want to take anything away from Guardians because that's a fantastic movie too. But in terms of like the superhero films, Civil War, or Winter Soldier is like, by itself is a damn fine movie. It's like if you want to like compare it to The Dark Knight or as I said, The Wrath of Khan. To me, it's a film that picks up as a middle segment and introduces you to the world and the characters and gives you the information you need without ever tying you down in exposition. And then of course I wanted to see X-Men Apocalypse and I wanted to see Star Trek. Everything else I didn't really give a shit about, which is like when we start doing this, it's like, oh good, I have a reason to actually go see Dawn of Justice. And now that we've done these 7 shows, like actually I'm really more we're talking about it even in jest. I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this film now. Because that sure as hell wasn't before. I was just like, yeah, when Captain America and Dawn of Justice were like fighting to see who got the opening day, I'm like, well, I know where I'm going to be. It ain't going to be in DC.
It's like rival gangs.
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
Just got Stan Lee heading up one of them.
Oh my god, that would be so fucking awesome. I'd love to see that. There's no...
Hey, true believer. Where are you going? I'm going to see Batman versus Superman. Get him. Break his legs.
Well, the studios would fuck it up so like they'd make sure the theaters didn't, overlap them. They made sure they overlapped them, or I don't know what they'd do. They could see every fanboy saying, yeah, I'm going to buy a Dawn of Justice ticket, afternoon, and then Captain America ticket at night. Mm-hmm. Pay less for the matinee because if either one of these 2 films is going to suck, it ain't going to be Captain America. Like on a DC podcast, start talking about Marvel. So
sacrilege.
True.
No, I don't think
it's all the same. I mean, it's all comic movies.
I mean, Marvel's approach to it is really, really smart, and I feel
that's what I was always worried about with DC because I knew they were going to have to, because they can't follow what Marvel did. So the only thing that they could do is to just start off with the Justice League movie and then do solo movies after that.
Yeah.
But I think they're jumping the gun by turning this sequel into a Justice League film.
Actually, wait, is the direct Man of Steel sequel, because I know they were going to do Man of Steel 2, and I can't remember if it's greenlit or if it's in production hell, or are they waiting to see how Dawn of Justice does, or...
Because they're doing Dawn of Justice before actually doing a proper Superman sequel.
Yeah, this isn't the proper Superman sequel. This is fallout from that movie, but it's not. It looks like they're trying to position.
If that's the case, then they should treat this as the first of many Batman Superman team ups.
Yeah.
Like I would have.
In a way, it's like
instead of Dawn of Justice, I would have rather than do like. What was the first one? Their first story. What was that called? It's on the tip of my tongue. First time to meet up. Yeah.
In the comics. Not sure.
I was going to say, it's really funny because in a way, they're starting off with their Civil War. Even though it's like an unofficial Civil War. You've got Wonder Woman who's crawling out of the woodwork, and Aquaman and apparently the Flash and Cyborg are all going to be crawling out of the woodwork at the same time. We're going to have the corpse of Zod.
Doomsday, Lex Luthor.
Who else are they shoehorning in this movie?
Doomsday.
Apocalypse might be in there. And maybe Darkseid.
And I'm here too. Doomsday, Darkseid, Granny Goodness, a Female Furies, Mr. Terrific, Big Barda. A Orion.
I know.
Yeah.
I know one person who's not. I know three people who are not going to be in the film. Gordon's not going to be in the film. Robin's not going to be in the film, and Green Lantern's not being in the film. They're not bringing him back until like 2020, I think.
Yeah.
Just go with Guy Gardner.
No, it should be Stewart.
Yes.
I'm ready to see Stewart.
Yeah, I'm ready to see Jon Stewart in the movie. Not the Daily Show host.
No.
Well, that'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious if they got him to do it.
Well, actually, they're I think they're done principal photography on the Wonder Man solo movie. Because her and Chris Pine is playing Roger. What's his name?
No, he's playing. Wow, how did I forget his name? Steve Trevor.
Steve Trevor, that's it. Steve Trevor. Yeah. So they're done principal photography on that. They're going to be shooting the Ben Affleck written and directed Batman sequel to this. I have to be honest with you. I am not. Maybe we should do something leading up to a podcast or two leading up to Suicide Squad, because I know I am going to see it. I know I should see it, but I really don't. I'm not looking forward to it at all.
World's
Suicide
Finest.
Squad? Yeah.
World's Finest.
Suicide Squad is kind of... I'm not sold on it at all yet.
No, I don't think.
I
still
am,
gonna
but
watch
the
it.
more I see from it, kind of takes away some of the...
Well, the ha 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 tattoo just doesn't make any real sense.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
I'll wait to see what he does with the character. But
I've-
the other ones, I'm just kind of iffy on. I'm still gonna see it, but I don't know. I
You see
don't
Will
have any
Smith being Will
expectations.
Smith.
Will Smith as Will Smith.
Take a shot every time he says, "Oh hell no."
Oh hell no! Oh, hell nah!
Oh hell no! Welcome to Earth.
See, they should have him in Dawn of Justice now. That's how we should introduce him in Dawn of Justice. Him
Should have made him Jon Stewart.
trying to get him to shoot Superman. He's like, "Welcome to Earth." Ricochets off from Superman.
This is a kryptonite bullet. And that fight real quick.
His contract says he can only say lines from his other movie. Bullet ricochets off. Oh hell no!
Oh no, you didn't shoot that green shit at me. No,
What the hell is that smell? Maybe throw in a Fresh Prince line every once in a while.
Yeah. Oh, do the Men in Black thing. It's you're gonna go out and get your shoes and interior decorator because damn. And got to figure out something from Pitch.
Throwing in, I make this suit look good.
I make this look good. Get him something from, what was that movie he started in with Jaden?
Oh,
With that weird accent kind of thing he was doing.
After Earth.
After Earth.
Was it After Earth?
I don't know. It was on. I never saw it. I heard a lot about it, and then it was on.
I saw some of it, and it was
It was on cable. One night.
underwhelming.
Beth and I were watching it with kind of like this more. It was just like this. It was
After Earth.
It was After Earth. It was kind of. We were just kind of sitting there like going, this movie is like so dry and bland. I didn't really think it was like overly. This is weird and dry and boring, and I believe I believe all the criticisms deserved, but I just didn't think it would. I didn't think it was as laughably exciting as everybody else seemed to do, because everybody talked about how absurd it was, but nobody ever really discussed how fucking boring the movie is. God, how do we get started on After Earth? Will Smith. Will Smith is Deadshot.
Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn has got me excited.
I don't know. I'm not sold on her Harley. From what I've seen in the commercial, I'm not sold on her Harley either. I don't know. I mean, I think with the Nolan films, it subverted your expectations as to who these people were so much. And except for Lex Luthor, I feel like with these new films, they're actually like trying to give you what you expect. Because Harley actually looks too young.
Why do you say that?
Because she was Joker's therapist.
Yeah, but he looks young now too.
Yeah, but she looks like she's like 18. He looks like he's in his like late 20s. She looks like she's like a kid. You know, I mean, and again, as we were talking about,
She ages well.
As long as if they get the character right, I'll be fine with it. But from what I've seen, I'm not really superly impressed with it.
Yeah, I can totally see a young psychiatrist right out of school.
That would make it easier for her to be
very impressionable. The Joker of all the criminals.
But why would you get somebody who's in the residency to go talk to the Joker? It's like, here, go talk to this guy. He's an unknown. The best minds at Arkham couldn't, maybe a newbie.
Maybe she's a hothead.
Maybe she's a hothead.
Like she's just like, if you can't, I can do it.
She found the Lazarus pit. God damn it. Lazarus pit. So every time she gets old, she's been around since Freud, and every time she gets, she starts aging, she goes and takes a dip, and
just waiting for one of these days where like Batman's just like, fuck it, nobody else can be Batman but me, and just dips into Lazarus pit. Comes out like 33 again.
Hey guys. Dick. Hey Dick, I got an idea. Now that I look younger than you, why don't you be Batman? I'll be Robin. Let's do a little role reversal. See how it goes.
See how annoying this is? Yes, Bruce, I get it now. No, I don't think you do. Holy role reversal, Batman.
Well, does anybody have anything else to say? I'm not trying to cut the short, but by the same time, it's just like, we spent like almost an hour talking about Dark Knight Rises and then our expectations.
I don't want it to suck.
I don't want it to suck either. I have to say the one thing from the trailers, and Louis, when they came out with this third trailer, said, it was the only one that made the movie look good. Mm-hmm. Like we said, the editors for the first two trailers they probably fired. But the new TV spots they have out, where Superman goes to hit Batman, and Batman, holds off his arm, and Superman kind of looks at him like, "What the fuck is going on?" That I'm like in that moment. Seeing what they do with Wonder Man and seeing Aquaman are like my main motivations for seeing this movie.
So he blocks that punch. He looks at it like disbelievingly. He's like, "Ready to get your ass kicked as bad as it was when Feora beat you." That was a serious ass whooping. I think she beat him worse than Zod did.
Yeah,
she humiliated
him. Her that was a completely one-sided battle.
Well, she totally just taunted him. She just baited him. She's like, Zod was at least treating him as like the son of his nemesis with a certain amount of respect. Faye was just kind of like a little pissant twerp and fucking.
She's basically saying, "I'm going to take you to school."
Yeah, exactly.
The entire time she's fighting him, she's like, "Yeah, it's easy."
I said, encounter suit or no encounter suit, you suck.
I want to see how Jor-El would have done.
See, I'm so tough, I can hold off these missiles with the palm of my hand.
Because I would venture to say even that Feora was the best fighter in Zod's army.
Oh, without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
And like she only followed him simply because of his vision and.
Hey, listen! If they want to like have a spin-off series like Faye in the Phantom Zone, that would be actually that sounds like a porno, doesn't it?
With the guy.
Faye in the Phantom.
Yeah, they never really like went into like what the Phantom Zone was like.
No,
because like they either treated it as both a prison and like Zod considered like instant death.
Yeah,
he's like, you killed all of mine.
But they like mummified him and put him in this like ship and then threw it into the Phantom Zone. Like wasn't like a little capsule that they put them all in that was like, like a little egg that was useless. It's like they put them into a fully functional ship. It's like, here, we're going to mummify you and put you in the ship and throw you in the Phantom Zone.
Which still seems pretty
shady.
Pretty fucked up.
It's like...
I mean, I guess there is a way to bring them back, obviously.
I mean, I think it would have been fucking cool is if, they had Ursa be the one to break him out. Like, she would, she was kind of like the holdback, and after Krypton was destroyed, have her come and break them out of the Phantom Zone, and she bring the starship. To have Ursa and Thea. That would have been awesome.
What the hell were they feeding that 110-foot motherfucker?
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, I don't know. Given the amount of lines they had, they probably just, like with Colossus, just found him in, working out the gym. I'm like, hey, how'd you like to sit in the background and really do nothing?
That's another thing that bothered me. Well, I guess, because, what should happen, at least, is once they get to Earth and start absorbing the rays, their base strength should be have the abilities added onto it. So, that guy being as big as he is, and obviously lifting as much as he does, should at least be on par with strength as Clark. Or maybe it's just down to the fact that he's absorbed the sun's rays longer than they have.
Yeah.
That's possible, but that's a good point. They could have made him into, Doomsday or something like that.
He's sitting in the Phantom Zone now.
I hope they have a deck of cards.
That's with all their good characters.
Yeah,
Superman's gonna have to do some rebuilding for a supporting cast.
Seriously. Well, I mean, they're shoehorning in about as many people as they can. You have Jeremy Irons as Alfred, who doesn't look that much older than Ben Affleck, even though I know he is. And I'm cool with him, because Alfred, in the first four films, Michael Gough, Alfred looked kind of like, well, no, because Alfred had like a black hair and a mustache, didn't he? So he wasn't always portrayed as an older man, was he?
It was off and on. Like, he had there might have been some black left in the gray.
Yeah.
And then after that, he's always been like balding and gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's right, he's balding. Yeah, so it's got, I mean, I'm cool with all three takes on Alfred. I mean, so far, as we agreed, Alfred, this is a tale of the movie sucks or not. If they fuck up Alfred, that will be a first in all these movies. But give it a chance.
I'm thinking that they're going to turn him into more like militant Alfred. Like, have his military background show through more with this incarnation.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool.
Because you have him piloting the Batwing, even if it's from the cave.
Yeah.
Like, he's hands-on in this fight with Bruce instead of just as a support.
Well, that's the way, but that's also the way it was in the Arkham video games too. Alfred was very much that role, so that might be cool. That'd be very cool if they did that.
Mm-hmm.
If
that would be even better. That'd be great if he was like the voice in the headset helping him out against the fight with Superman too.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Like, maybe have him have control over drones to draw his attention or something like that. Just really use that extra pair of hands to his advantage.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! That's cool. Yeah, I hope they do that. I hope they do that.
Alfred dropped the package, just like a fucking mountain of showers him in kryptonite.
You're explaining this. I'm like, yeah, I'm right with you. I'm like, oh shit, you haven't seen the movie. You're just speculating.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, wow, that's awesome. I can't wait to see that. And then I realized, oh shit, you haven't seen the movie either. Fuck. All right. That'd be really great if they put Alfred in that role. It looks like they're
don't fuck up Alfred, don't fuck up Lex.
Yeah.
Justify
him being his age. Don't make it just so he can get away with, being a kid. I mean, so to speak, even though, he's...
What do you think's going to be the thing that gets him to go bald? You think it's going to be he's going to be caught in an explosion, the fallout from the Doomsday fight?
I think he already is. I think it was
he thinks a wig?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they're going to do the whole thing what they did with Gene Hackman. Which would be
Why
cool.
that wig, though?
Because he doesn't look like anybody you could take seriously in that wig.
That is very true. That'd be great if, like, as soon as he takes the wig off, his demeanor just changes.
See,
that's what I'm hoping for, too.
So he stops doing the eccentric, goofy, and just becomes like the cold, calculating Lex Luthor.
That would be amazing. That would be fucking amazing. And if they don't,
damn it! Now I'm like getting my hopes up.
We did it again. I'm getting sucked up into our own mythology. We haven't seen the goddamn movie yet. And then, I mean, but to be honest with you, I'm actually looking forward to seeing it now, as opposed to before we saw trailer 3.
We got 4 days now.
Yeah. I think we're vying to see it opening night. This is going to be released the Wednesday before the day the movie opens. So if you're listening to this in retrospect and you're listening to it in order, get a timetable. So we're going to review it on the 20. We're going to see it on the 24th, and then we're going to release the review for that the following Monday on the 28th. So again, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, you'll know when our review's coming out, and if you're muddling through this at a future date and it's like 2020 and like, oh my god, I can't believe your speculation was better or worse than the movie is. So that's
hopefully we'll have a writing credit.
Yes, seriously. And don't forget, if anybody in Hollywood's listening to us, like, just listen to the way we rewrote some of those bad movies. Like, I thought our versions were really better. We could be script doctors. Feel free to send your send your comic book script.
Get a Goyer script. Just like,
you need us to doctor it.
Grab the scotch.
Send it to Care of Lost Signals. Put John and Justice Crew. Rich Perry, Louis Duran, and Chris Morgan, and just send us your scripts. We don't really need to be credited.
Just free tickets.
Just throw us, throw us a little cash and not much. Just the fact that we know we had something to do with this film was, I'm not that egotistical.
I want a special thanks.
Yeah, especially
and I don't want to be buried in like a sea of people either.
Yeah. And when I mean cash, I'm not being greedy. I'm just being like, I know there's unions and writers things, we can't violate union rules, whatever, which is fine. But yeah, just give us a thank you amongst 200,000 people that are in fine print at the end of the film after you get all done with all the CG animators. Special thanks, put us in there. We'll be happy to fix your movie.
Damn it, now I'm just hoping that stuff happens.
Yeah, me too. And it's probably Jason Momoa and the fact that I was a fan of Stargate Atlantis. But goddamn, I really am excited to see what they're going to do with Aquaman because, like, even in Entourage, when, Adrian Grenier's character, his name I'm blocking, was like in the Aquaman movie, the fictional one directed by James Cameron. I'm like, really? Who the fuck would want to go see an Aquaman movie? Like, who? And like you see in like the fake scene from the movie where they show the tidal wave heading to Santa Monica, I'm like, he speaks to fish. How is he going to stop the fucking tidal wave? I mean, So I'm really excited to see what they do, especially since apparently he's pissed off at Superman with what went on with the world engine in the Indian Ocean.
That'd be great if it'd be funny if they had all of his like awesome moments and like battles just happen off screen. Kind of like that episode of Buffy where everything's happening off screen and it's just Xander, except hopefully it's a little more exciting than the Xander thing. But or even that one episode of Justice League Unlimited with Booster Gold. I never saw it. Yeah, he was then the Justice League was having an off-screen battle, and he was just there for crowd control. Ended up stopping this black hole device from going off and destroying everything on the planet. Oh, cool. Oh yeah, I think I remember that. But he saves the world, gets the girl, and since he wasn't around since he had disappeared during crowd control, they just sent him straight home, so he didn't have to stick around for cleanup. Just goes on a date with the girl he saved. It's like, this is why I do it.
Okay, so 7 rounds. 13 movies. And it's all come down to what's going to happen in 4 days when we go see this movie.
Countdown to Justice is almost complete.
Oh my god, seriously. Actually, next time we come back, it's going to be Countdown to Justice presents its review of Batman vs. Superman.
The aftermath of Justice.
I really hope it's either great or it's horrible. There's going to be nothing worse than having it be mediocre.
Yeah. I'm pumped.
Yeah,
I might be the most optimistic.
I'll get my Batman shirt ready.
No, I'm approaching it the way I approached Batman Begins. I want to be more excited about it, like when Batman blocks the punch and a couple of things like Alfred actually remote piloting the Batwing, stuff like that, little stuff like that, those little details that actually make me really excited to see the film. But, given what we were talking about Zack Snyder, how he's been hit or miss. Zack, make an amazing film or make a shitty film. Do not make a mediocre film.
Want no in between. I want extremes.
Yes, exactly. It makes for better podcasting, man. You got to think of us, brother. All right. So, round 7, the tiebreaker round, which was needed. No tiebreaker.
There's no tie to break.
We started off with The Dark Knight Rises and went to Will Smith films and documents. So, until next time, I'm Chris Morgan here with
Louis Cernan. Thank you for joining us.
Rich Perry, welcome to Earth.
And we'll see you at the Dawn of Justice.
Music and editing by Chris Morgan. This has been a Lost Signals production. All rights reserved.